In a celebration of the first ever football game that took place in Yankee Stadium, Syracuse and the Pitt Panthers returned to the new Yankee Stadium in a celebratory convocation to commemorate the occasion 100 years later. A century ago, 'Cuse came away with a 3-0 win over Pitt after a third quarter kick sealed the deal. However, in 2023, the two teams were in dire straits and both teams hoped to stop losing skids. The 'Cuse congregation cruised on the opening drive down the turf, and Garrett Schrader completed his only pass of the day for a 5-yard touchdown toss to take a 7-0 lead. The Panthers defense found a fortunate fumble and a field goal to cut 'Cuse's lead down to 7-3. After a plethora of punts, a Pitt Panther pass was plucked out of the air by Bub Means, who matriculated the Moleskin for 65 yards, putting Pitt in prime position. The Panthers then punched it in for a 10-7 lead. The Panthers then found another field goal to push the Pitt lead to 13-7 at halftime. After halftime, the Pigskin was in the possession of Pitt, but it plummeted to the playing surface and was scooped up by Syracuse. The Orange then kicked it into overdrive, cutting and carving the Pitt defense to find a terrific 21-yard touchdown, taking a 14-13 lead. The plucky Panthers ran out of pluck and luck in the second half. They threw a pick six, then fumbled on the very next drive, which 'Cuse cashed in for a comfortable 28-13 lead. The Panthers' offense was puzzled and perplexed and couldn't push the peanut for any additional points. 'Cuse calmly closed out the contest with tight end Dan Villari punishing the Pitt defense and toting the rock to the tune of 17 carries and 154 yards. Syracuse 28, Pitt 13.
Welcome, everyone, to the Sickos Committee podcast. This is our podcast for the evening of November 12th, 2023. We have wrapped up week 11, and I don't know that I've been trying to divine truth, right? What is podcasting and sports media but trying to divine truth, right? That's what we do here?
Sure.
And so, with that, I have looked at the tea leaves of this weekend, and I still don't fucking know what's going on sometimes. Because we have some facts, we have some fiction, and we have some storylines that we're going to pull at and see what happens. As always, I'm Jordan. With me tonight, I've got Commish, Beth, Pitt Girl, and Arthur on the ones and twos, fresh back from New York City. Beth, how are you?
I'm a little worried because a few people told me that they weren't able to hear any of my salient commentary on the last couple of podcasts. So, I know. Arthur, stop muting me. That's mean.
Yep. We just slamming that mute button on Beth.
We were just giving everyone the full Brian Floyd experience. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Hey girl, how are you?
I watched very little football this weekend, so I am
I'm excited.
Looking forward to finding out what the fuck happened.
There you go. Commish?
Just happy to be here. I was visited by the in-laws this weekend, and they don't take too kindly to me watching just football all day long on Saturdays. So I had to, coach my final youth soccer game in the morning. Then I got roped into dinner at an Italian restaurant in a strip mall.
Nice.
Yeah,
how was it? Strip mall Italian is not uncommon in Pennsylvania. That's why I asked.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is San Antonio. My mom's side of the family is full-blooded Italian, and they do their own sauce. They hand make their own ravioli. They make their own cannoli shells, and the filling.
And this was not, I'm guessing.
And this was just, I don't know, man. I'm not going to name the place, but I mean, really, San Antonio is not necessarily known for their Italian.
No, they're not.
No, so it was fine. A lot of things in San Antonio, I've had to realize, I have to do this myself if I want it to be the way I want it to be. So, same with the Cajun food. I got to do the same thing here.
Mm-hmm. To Pitt Girl's wider point, thinking quickly through, there's only one homemade Italian restaurant I can think of that is not in a strip mall. If you want a freestanding Italian place in the greater Altoona area, you are largely limited to the Olive Garden family of products.
Yeah, there's Olive Garden stays packed in San Antonio. It is ridiculous. Like, it is just constantly overflowing with people, and I am just, no, thank you. There's other Italian restaurants. I mean, like Carrabba's is not bad. There's Maggiano's, which is, I mean, again, these are all chains. There was one Italian restaurant here in San Antonio that was pretty good, but then like the quality just went down, and you just can't pay those prices. It was something called Paisano's, which was good.
I was invented shrimp paisano, which is
it was good. And then after a few years of maybe going there every once in a blue moon or whatever, you started to notice that the portions got smaller and smaller. And then you finally realize the shrimp paisano is basically 4 shrimp. And you're just like, okay, this is not enough for 4 shrimp. So no, thank you.
And I can make it better.
I'd rather do the stuff myself, but with 2 kids, it's a little bit difficult to do that. So I'll say that.
Well, folks, let's start with, I guess, the biggest news of the day. Jim Harbaugh is not. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not gonna do
We'll get to Michigan later.
We'll
do Michigan later. I know Beth really wants to talk about it.
I do badly.
Yes.
I have many opinions.
Let's talk about the first spin on the coaching carousel. It fired up after only the 2 shitbirds in the Big Ten being fired so far this year. Both Commish and I had said that this felt like it was late. It's slow start.
It does feel very late.
It does.
And then the trickle started.
Yeah.
And it started not just with a trickle, with big money, because Jimbo Fisher is gone at Texas A&M.
After putting a 40-some point beatdown on Mississippi State, too. It's not like he lost embarrassingly, and the boosters were like, oh no, that's it. We didn't beat Mississippi State by enough, I guess?
No, they decided this. They decided this on Thursday.
Oh,
yeah. We mustn't expensively fire someone at immediate cause like one of the poors.
Yes. No, they had planned this on Thursday. So at the Board of Trustees meeting. So this was premeditated. And when this hit the newswire this morning, all of a sudden the number came into everyone's head because they owe him somewhere between $70 and $80 million. I'd heard 76 or 77 is the most commonly cited figure.
Yes.
And that's a lot of goddamn money to not do your job. I'm wondering, because Beth, you and I are in education.
Yep.
And in contracts, they have these things, one of the things called duties as assigned.
Mm-hmm.
So that if I am a teacher, a band director, whatever, and I'm no longer wanted, that they can still keep me along. I'm still in contract. They can just have me teach whatever. I could go, be a crossing guard for the same amount of money if that's what they wanted me to do.
Yes, you could, as a friend of mine who was a band director experienced, you could go be a study hall teacher for 20 years.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's not great.
Oh, this is probably before, you could just spend that time fucking around on your phone, too. Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
So my first idea was, we've talked about Texas A&M Cotter's campus, that they have a sports program there. And the idea of Ted Lasso, but it's Jimbo being the cricket coach at Texas A&M Cotter. That to me is real funny for $78 million. I mean, you're going to pay him to do nothing. You might as well make him do something.
Something very far away.
Yeah. Put him in.
You just wanted him to leave. You did it. He left.
They have a Galveston campus. Send him to Galveston. Send him to Doha. I don't care.
Is that far? I assume all places in Texas are far.
I mean, it's a couple
College
hours.
Station. Yeah, probably.
Texas A&M Commerce has a football team, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
Do they want a $78 million coach?
Tarleton State is now technically I believe Tarleton State is an A&M system school. Yeah. Send him out to Tarleton State. Send him someplace else.
Send him to Texas A&M San Antonio, the start of football program.
Yes.
There you go. It's like you're designating him for assignment, and then you call up a new pitcher. I mean, coach.
Put him back down to the minors. He needs time to season.
Yeah, and then pull Tarleton up to the majors. You did it.
Oh God, what if he ends up at the Nick Saban school for coaches who can't coach good?
I think he's burned that bridge so wildly.
I know.
I think he's torched that bridge. That would be funny. I didn't realize, apparently, he started his high school career playing quarterback for Terry Bowden.
That's right. The circle of ULM is back.
I did not know that.
So like the Bowdens, the Sabans, the Jimbos, like it all comes back to West Virginia. And I'm sad that we will miss out on that level of West Virginia mad happening on the sidelines.
West Virginia in college football is like Finland in Formula One. There are so many people at top levels that come from there, and I'm not fucking sure why.
Moontown.
Also, you drink a lot and drive very recklessly. So I think I'm actually seeing it now.
There's not a lot else to do.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
I mean, mostly we discovered that Volkswagen was cheating at diesel, but
yeah, that's true. You did do that.
I am going to pull up Matt Brown's thread about the buyout because he did a little data journalism today. And,
it's beautiful.
And it's great. I'm just going to read some of these here. The buyout of Jimbo Fisher is higher than the gross domestic product of Tuvalu, which is about $60 million. Also, that's more than the total annual athletic budget for every single public school outside the P5. Also, it's more than what the entire American and Conference USA made in ticket revenue across every single sport combined. Also, it's more than the endowment of Texas Wesleyan University. Also, would pay for more than 7.7 million bacon cheese Whataburger combos. I think that's the number 5. They may have changed it. Also, it would allow people to pay for more than 1.3 million annual subscriptions of Extra Points, Matt Brown's newsletter, which you should all definitely follow because it is a banger.
Mm-hmm. Everyone should get at least 1 million subscriptions. Mm-hmm.
It is just insane.
It was, if I recall correctly, several trillion Vietnamese dong.
Yes. Mm-hmm. What was it, Commish?
I got to get the tweet pulled up here. So I had it saved, but it's somewhere.
It was a lot of dong.
Many dongs.
So many dongs, which, people request. They want to know how many dongs it is. And, I just did that once because I was trying to figure out the highest, currency exchange rate.
Yeah, it was the yes.
It's one of the highest.
I have the tweet. It is 1.8 trillion dong.
Yes.
Okay. That's a lot of
That's right.
So many.
And good.
Oh, just going for the Terry Bowden units, which
I was going to say, yes.
Yeah, we got to do. That's our standard measure of coach buyouts, which Alex Kirshner does the Petrino, whatever. That's a bigger measurement because that's big time coaching, and we're worried about the very bottom of FBS, which the Terry Bowden unit is $435,000, $400 per year, $435,400 per year. Coach, that's base salary. I don't know if Terry's got some, catfish cabin bonus bucks or something that he gets in that contract.
He gets like a Honda Accord to drive around. Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure. Maybe a Ford Taurus.
It's a Crown Vic that they got from a police auction.
And a $10,000 bonus if he wins the national championship.
Sure. Done. If he beats the Cajuns, he gets $10,000. I would love to see an incentive-laden contract for ULM. It'd be great. But a $76 million buyout is equal to 174 and a half years of Terry Bowden as your head coach.
So I think it's extremely sickos for us to decide that we now have a second unit of measure. And so we have the TBU, and then we have so we can say that 174 TBUs is equal to a Jimbo.
Yes.
And those are the only measures we have.
Yes.
But much like it would be as if we had 55-gallon drums and tablespoons, and that's it.
Well, we're just kind of going back to the old school English method of doing money, right? Where you've got pounds and shillings, and none of the numbers make any fucking sense.
Right.
Decimalization destroyed finances.
The fun thing to compare this in the entirety of 2022, the total for all coach buyouts was only 177.6 TBUs. So we have almost hit the total of coach buyouts already, which we probably have because somebody else was fired.
With Andy Avila, yeah. Yes.
Wait a minute. Does this mean we can't fire Neil? Damn it.
Do you have any money left to fire Neil?
I assumed that money wasn't real because it sure seems like it's not.
Arizona thought money wasn't real either. And then like 3 days ago, they realized that they only had, I think University of Arizona said they have 91 days of liquidity in their university.
Oh no.
Yeah, this came across this last week. University of Arizona apparently had some bad money management. All of a sudden was like, oh, we're like $250 million short.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what happens when money's free for a long time and then it's actually not free anymore. Damn interest rates.
As a musician, the idea of having 91 days of liquidity is a largesse to which I can never aspire.
Imagine having 91 days of operating expenses. Insane.
No idea what that would feel like.
Our good friend Craig, who is a Michigan man through and through, made a post earlier today on Blue Sky that I delved into a little more as well. He had mentioned that Jimbo Fisher is going to retire with a 45-25 record. That gives him a winning percentage of about 64%. Kevin Sumlin has 67%. For a lot less money. You look at this list. I have it in the show notes. You look at this list of Texas A&M coaches by winning percentage, and you realize why they have a chip on their shoulder. Because this whole list is just like the highest ranked coach was someone from 1909 to 1914, Charlie Moran, who's better known for on the Wikipedia page for being a catcher and baseball coach. He was also, of course, head coach of the A&M baseball team while he was there.
I'm going to count the fact that Jimbo is slightly above Jackie Sherrill in terms of win percentage as yet another win of WV over Pitt.
I didn't need this today, Beth.
Wow, West Virginia scoring points on Pitt.
I do love how the way Dana X Bible, who was the head coach from 1919 to 1928, best thing about that, his middle name, Xenophon.
Eternal head coach of Texas A&M for all time. Hail to our glorious leader.
I so badly want that to be Dana Holgerson's superhero name.
And the best part is, after that, he went to Nebraska and then coached at Texas for a long ass time too. Dana was all over the place.
Just roaming the plains.
So yeah, this of course starts the spinning of the carousel, and this is the stupidest, biggest way it could have possibly started spinning. This is the equivalent of turning the carousel with a fucking rocket, because it's going to cause so much other chaos. If you told me that Boise State had not planned to fire their coach today, but saw A&M move and they were just like, well, fuck it, I guess we're going. Andy Avalos is gone at Boise State. They're 5-5 currently. Also thrashed New Mexico yesterday and still fired their coach on a Sunday. But Boise has looked pretty suspect this year.
Yeah, Boise's 5-5. I thought they were above 500, but apparently I was wrong on the last podcast.
Would be their first losing season in
1997. First non-winning season. So I think they were 97. They were 6-6. I remember Houston Nutt was their head coach at one point for 1 year too. That was great. It's always fun to shout out Bunky Perkins for bringing that up. But yeah, Boise, they weren't happy with him last year. They made the change in offensive coordinators, and then this year is just not going well for Boise. So they're ready to move on, and they let him go. Regarding the Jimbo getting fired and starting the coaching carousel, which is, I mean, this is going to cause, as you said, this is going to cause so many different trickle-down effects because they're going to go swinging for whoever they want, and they're probably going to have somebody that's already in a high-profile job, or it's going to cause just a lot of musical chairs, which is crazy. But I mean, the A&M thing is they got the talent, they got the facilities, they got all this stuff that somehow they just can't put it all together. And But
here's the thing. They never have.
No.
In the history of the program.
Yeah.
They have never put it together. Nope. And that's why they're willing to just put whatever on this.
They are like if Virginia Tech had a really stupid amount of money.
Yes. Except Virginia Tech has success in the last 40 years.
They also have a spot specifically reserved in their trophy case for the national championship that they do not have.
They're going to melt down the Jimbo Fisher national champion plaque, aren't they? It's never going to leave that building, is it?
The FCS plaque, the NCAA title one, which, you know,
because I want that, like,
I beveled it, so that's
I know.
beveled.
I want the goddamn plaque.
And then I beveled the Christmas tree for Katie, so Katie was like, "You got to bevel the Christmas tree now." That he left on the curb when he left Florida State to go to A&M. So I promised her that, and I beveled that for her.
Not that we get too much into the what ifs on this, but I do have to shout out. Oh, let me find him. This is I can't find him right now. I'll have to say it later on. He's someone who covers UTSA that we follow a ton, and his quote on Twitter was, "I would be afraid that they're going to go after Jeff Traylor at UTSA because that's the obvious pick, but then again, it's Texas A&M, and they're not going to make the smart hire, so I don't have to be worried."
Is that Jared?
It's Jared, yes. Thank you.
Jared Kalmus from the Alamo Audible, I believe.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
That's
he's hanging around in my neighborhood. So, like in the general area we live. So, yes, definitely. It's kind of crazy. Penn State fired their offensive coordinator. I didn't even know the offensive coordinator's name.
Yurkich,
yeah,
I believe.
Sure.
Mike Yurkich.
Sounds great. After that Michigan game, which they were booing the play calling as the drives were going on, I heard.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Imagine that.
Pennsylvania doing a lot of booing this year. So
apparently loudly enough for my friend who was working concessions to wonder if something terrible had happened.
Oh, hey, Beth. Mike Yurkich was QB for the California Vulcans.
Oh, hey.
So there you go.
That would be the California University of Pennsylvania Vulcans.
Oh, no, it's let me tell you, every time I throw up D3 school or D2 schools in Pennsylvania now, everyone's like, why is there an Indiana University of Pennsylvania and a California University of Pennsylvania?
Hold on.
Because we said so.
So there's you said there's a California University of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
that's a state school, by the way. That is not a state affiliated school.
The abbreviation of the school is CUP, right?
It's called CalU.
CalU.
Okay, so it's CalU. It's not like I go to CUP.
No.
No. Oh God.
They do have a really great script. They have a great script word mark. I like it. It's like Script Cal if it were a little looser and funnier.
Yeah, I have it on a mug behind my head.
Cool.
My sister went there.
I'm glad it's called CalU. I'm just gonna say that.
So we reached out to our listeners and then asked them if there's anything we really need to talk about before we get into things. Can I talk about the Isthmus Bowl?
Ooh.
Merry Isthmus.
So this is a game that is a D3 bowl game, and it is played, but it's in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, sponsored by Culver's.
Oh,
and features the top two teams from the Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, the WIAC, and the College Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin, the CCIW, that did not make the NCAA D3 playoffs. And this year we have the University of Wisconsin Plattsville, the Pioneers, also a great robotics school that we've learned. And they finished in a three-way tie with UW Oshkosh and UW River Falls, and they got the bid due to the tie-breaking procedures. And then on the other side, it's the Augustana College.
It's Augustana.
And
shout out to yet another D3 Lutheran school.
Of course. And
that isn't St. Olaf, because fuck St. Olaf.
They are the Vikings. They'll be playing on a bowl game on November 18th in the Bank of Sun Prairie Stadium in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin.
Augustana is about 3 times bigger than Teal, which means it still has less than 3,000.
So it's still tiny. Yeah.
It's still real small.
So that's awesome. We have our first bowl game coming up in November, in a week.
Hooray!
Super exciting.
Hooray!
The Isthmus Bowl.
Merry Isthmus to all.
And to all a good night.
Commish, you had your final game of the season as coach.
That's all right.
How'd it go?
Were you also fired? It's murder day. I feel like we should ask.
No, I was not fired. So
as
I said last time,
you were retiring of your own
as I said last time, we were able to get to 500 on the season. So I considered this our bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
So our bowl game, it was the Sabertooth Tigers versus the Fire Force.
Ooh.
I was like, hey. So I ran
the
into
most Arena League ass names.
That's right, the Fire Force.
All Arena League teams were named by 9-year-olds. This is a science fact. Yes. You all know it to be true.
Right. So the Fire Force, I ran into a parent who had the kid on the opposite team who I coached in the previous season. Mm-hmm. And so we were talking before the game. We're like, oh, I don't know. Is your team any good? He's like, I don't know. Somebody else. We were just talking like, former coaches and colleagues do, before a big game. And, we're getting to it. And his son was ready to play. And I'm like, okay, I already have his scouting notes on his son. So I was ready to go. We gotta isolate them and definitely try to shut them down. So the first quarter on fire, the Fire Force was shut down completely. The Sabertooth Tigers came out 4-0 lead after the first quarter, just blowing them out. Then the Fire Force changed their tactics a little bit. One kid for the Fire Force was essentially cherry picking. The ref for the YMCA was not calling offsides, which is just ridiculous. If there was a Michigan man from the previous game, definitely been upset. Like he's completely there. Mm-hmm. Our goal's wide open, and then they break through, and the kid's like right there. They wind up getting 3 goals on us. It's 4-3 after halftime. It was just barely winning. Then I don't know what happened in the second half, but I was just it's the bowl game, last game of the year. Can't hold anything back now.
Halftime adjustments.
Got halftime adjustments. I changed the lineups. We were down to like 8 kids, so I started playing like with the lineups here. Started tinkering, and just put it on them in the second half. Blew the Fire Force away. Won the game 9-3. My son took home MVP awards with 5 goals, including Thierry Henry style spinning kick from midfield, just straight into the pipes, and all the parents were audibly clapping and saying "Wow" from that little 6-year-old pulling that off. So big win. I wanted to say we won the Potato Bowl, but my kiddo, he's the MVP. He said, no, we won the Cheez-It Bowl because he wanted to dump Cheez-Its all over my head.
There you go.
He's got a point.
That's right. Kid, big fan of Ched Z. We still have no idea where Prince Chedward is.
Coach Commish, is it true that your buyout does not go down during this offseason?
The buyout remains the same. Actually, I believe I just got an extension to potentially coach in the spring league. But I could be changing leagues depending on this. I could be upgrading to the 7-year-old league. So 7 and 8s. This could be changing some strategy. I could be essentially moving from G5 to P5. Who knows?
Okay. We have college football to discuss. We'll cover some of our weeknight games. Miami, Ohio, 19. Akron, 0. The Zips got zippled. The most interesting about this is that Alec Bevelheimer, who we've discussed before, who is Miami of Ohio's punter, was the MAC East Special Teams Player of the Week. And also a Ray Guy semifinalist.
Yeah.
So good for him.
I've actually found out that I may have a vote for the Ray Guy Award.
Woo!
I'm trying to verify this because they had me vote in like something for the Football Writers Association of America. So I voted for just basically linemen, and there should be another ballot coming. So like offensive linemen, linebackers, safeties, and whatnot. I don't know if I did it right, but I submitted names into a ballot, and there'll be maybe another ballot coming this week for some specialists and other things. So fingers crossed, I got to vote for the Ray Guy Award.
Love it. Also that night was Bowling Green 49, Kent State 19. This one was only interesting because before the game kicked off, someone tweeted out that someone had made $1 million bet on this game for Kent State plus 10.5.
Oh no!
I don't think it was real.
There's no way to verify it, and the people are saying like this is not real, it's fake. The maximum that they allow on like college betting is like like 110,000 on a game or something. I'm like, that's an odd number to do that. They wouldn't allow somebody to do this, but this was from like Hard Rock Bets. So I mean, associated with the Hard Rock Casino. So I don't know why you would take Kent State plus 10.5. I was definitely leaning Bowling Green in this game, and I was probably right because Bowling Green forces turnovers, and they'll also turn it over. They turned Kent over twice, and they turned it over once. So
yep, it was a stereotypical Bowling Green game.
That's
They are bowl eligible now, so
Yes.
that is wonderful.
2 years in
Scott
a row.
Leffler, you're still making this work, Scott Leffler. And then Toledo has clinched the MAC title game berth with their win over Eastern Michigan. Toledo is 9-1 and 6-0 in the MAC, and they're a lot of fucking fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Their only loss still remains that last second comeback for Illinois.
Right.
Yeah.
And a game they would probably be 10-0 and they would be the ones in the driver's seat right now.
Mhm.
I think the New Year's 6 bid. On Thursday we had our guy in the Discord, he always calls it out. Like feels like a trap game for Louisiana, and it was. Southern Miss 34, Louisiana 31 in OT. And the best part was the game blacked out during overtime.
Yeah, we didn't even see. We did not even see
the score in
but
overtime.
All we know is the game blacked out, and all of a sudden the Cajuns had a field goal in OT. So we have no idea what the Cajuns did. It blacked out after first down in the first OT. And everybody's like, what happened in the game? All of a sudden, Southern Miss has the ball, and the Cajuns have a field goal. So I have no idea what went down in Lafayette. TV-wise, it was ridiculous. Apparently, Southern Miss has the Cajuns' number. That's their 11th straight win against the Cajuns. And then
it goes back to like the early 90s.
Yeah, they weren't always in the same conference, but it stretches a long time. The coach for Southern Miss improves to 8-1 against all teams from Louisiana, and he's still 5-21 against teams from any other state.
Oh my God!
What the hell is going on?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Will Hall will beat anybody from Louisiana except Tulane this year. Just he cannot beat teams from any other state. I'm like, I don't know. Like who plays the most teams in Louisiana that he needs to get a job at? I mean, the Sun Belt works out. You play like 2 in Louisiana.
I guess La Tech doesn't have enough because
yeah,
La Tech's might need a new coach pretty soon.
We'll see.
Louisville 31, Virginia 24. Virginia made this one really close going to the end of this game.
Oh yeah!
Shout out to Paris Jones, who took a really nasty hit. Like was not moving as they took him off the field.
Yeah,
he ended up with spinal surgery this weekend and is apparently moving bits and pieces again. So that's amazing to hear.
Yeah. I watched a good amount of this game. This is actually weirdly probably the game I watched the most of all weekend.
Yeah.
And that was really rough to see, especially because it happened on a really exciting play. And so everybody like initially was following the ball, and then you come back and it was just not great. So very glad to hear that he is on the mend, hopefully. And shout out to our man Anthony Colandrea, who played like this entire game and was doing all of the chaos things, but it was just
like his hair was on fire.
Yes.
A 21-point third quarter, just like
it took the lead.
Oh my God! So they like Louisville had to come rushing back to save this game.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what I want on Thursday night action.
Yeah. Louisville, still theoretically in the playoff hunt, kind of, maybe, but I am not convinced they're not fraudulent. Don't at me.
They got to beat Florida State, and I don't think that exists.
Good luck.
Well, on Friday night, SMU 45, North Texas 21. Thank you, SMU, for giving me a press pass for this. Also, shout out to follower at Capt Kip on Twitter. And one of our threads, he was like, hey, if you're there, free pizza. I was like, I'll take free pizza. I went up and down. I was at the game, went up and down the boulevard, had tons of free drinks shoved into my hand. Was not even wearing any SMU gear. It was super so there are bougier parts than others. Let's be real honest here. It's along this cool little like pedestrian. It's not pedestrian boulevard. The cars drive there during the week, but it's a little boulevard. It's really nice. And it's a lot of like very fancy tailgating. It's a little like less fancy as you go further back. People were just handing me drinks. I was just walking up to people being like, hey, I'm just here to check things out for SMU. And I got tons of drinks. I was nice and toasty by the time I went to the press box. got to give my fraternity secret handshake. They did not have booze, unfortunately.
Oh.
Got a bottle of water from them.
Secret handshake for water.
Yeah, not the best.
Okay.
But this was a ton of fun. This game was a blast to go to and watch because SMU did exactly what I thought they were going to do. They just scored like crazy. At some point, they were like at 20 yards of completion on passing. It was just like everything was just going for bombs. North Texas held it close for the first little bit, and then it got away from them in the second half. That's fine. No one was expecting that to stay close. I had a blast. Thank you, SMU, for hosting. Y'all are great. Good luck in the ACC next year. The fans are so happy to be in the ACC. All the signage, like they have yard signs all over being like SMU, ACC, everywhere on camp on that main part of the drag now. It's everywhere. Everyone's like I posted a couple of those pictures.
Yeah.
Like Pony Access, ACC, ESS.
Yeah. Yes. That was great. Like, I love to see stuff like that. And our mentions were like, this is ridiculous. They don't even have that many fans there. How could they be ACC? And I'm like, man.
It was Friday night, and they were all still toasty. Like, yeah. Like the tailgating scene was amazing for a Friday night game.
Yeah.
And most of them ended up in the stands eventually. It was just like people were drinking and having a great time. It was a beautiful night out too. Like it was going to take some time to get in there. I had a blast. North Texas band sounded great. They brought 17 sousaphones.
Is that enough?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? It was plenty.
When you tweet anything banned, anything banned, I am just like, is this good? Is this bad?
It was a lot. It was a lot for the size of, because they only brought about half their band because they don't travel with the whole thing. Because the whole Eagle Brigade is like.
Somebody in the replies was like, that's weak. Like UTSA had like 20 the other. And I'm like, what?
This is band dick swinging.
17 sousaphones for non-band friends. That is so many sousaphones. That is probably too many sousaphones.
What's the right amount of sousaphones?
Depends on how big your band is, but 17 is a lot.
More the merrier generally.
Listen, I am proud of North Texas for leaning into the pyramid of sound.
Yes.
And you can't have the pyramid of sound without an adequate base.
Yeah. This is a fat booty in terms of the pyramid of sound. Yeah.
Yes. This pyramid of sound is all ass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just
literally no treble in this thing. It is all about that bass.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that a 10-year-old Meghan Trainor reference? Thank you. Is she still singing? She's still a thing?
She is still a thing.
Do wine moms still like her? Okay, cool. Wait, Pitt SMU is a thing next season?
Yes.
Come visit.
It is.
Come on, come visit.
Okay.
We'll do it.
Okay.
This will be fun. But yes, anyways, thank you, SMU. Thank you to everyone on the boulevard who was handing me drinks. I had a blast. Love it. At the same time this game was going on, when this game started getting out of hand, on my laptop, I was in the press box, I pulled up UNLV Wyoming, expecting Wyoming to hang with them. Ladies and gentlemen, they did not hang. It was 21-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Oh, no.
And then Wyoming claws back a little bit. Now, Wyoming is super banged up at this point, and UNLV is probably playing their best football of the season at this point, too. So it was just like not at the same level. This game also kicked off at like 9:30 Central. It was a late-ass game. Both games were late on Friday. But again, it was a lot of fun. UNLV just looked really good. They with Fresno State's loss, I think they control their own destiny going to the Mountain West title game, maybe? I don't know the math there.
After the Air Force loss, it's going to be a little bit different.
Oh, I forgot. Because the whole Mountain West just like
and then Fresno
imploded on itself.
Fresno lost to San Jose State. Yeah, the Mountain West has gotten like it's gotten a little bit of a mess. Like Air Force
Fresno didn't just lose to San Jose State,
but I mean
Fresno got obliterated by San Jose State.
Air Force only has one loss in the Mountain West, though. So I mean their loss to Army doesn't really necessarily hurt them in conference, but it has hurt their pride, and they may have been found out a bit, especially when they went to the islands this weekend.
God, that was weird. But let's start with our Saturday. Let's talk about our game of the week, Pitt versus Syracuse. Syracuse 28, Pitt 13.
Is Arthur here?
Arthur just showed back up.
He just winks into existence.
Yeah, I'm here. It's just like it's hard. I can't figure out how to be on cam and stand up at the same time because
Gotcha,
if I sit down, I'm going right to sleep.
Got you.
The city that never sleeps. Arthur's dead tired and needs some sleep.
Yeah, because I'm not there anymore. I was there and I didn't sleep.
Your view of the field from the front row, also 60 yards away from the sideline. Beautiful. How did you see anything?
I mean, I didn't. I'm gonna be honest. Like, this has not really happened to me before at a college football game. Mm-hmm. Like, I was legit bored at times. Like, at this game, I walked every single bit of concourse that you could walk at Yankee Stadium, right? I mean, because you couldn't go throughout the whole thing. Like, they didn't even bother opening the upper deck. And right. I mean, I've been to a Pinstripe Bowl before, although I was there in the press box, but there were way less, forget just fans overall. Like, there were a bunch of sections that they didn't even bother selling tickets to. Like, they had tarps over them that I remember they're, selling for the Pinstripe Bowl. But yeah, I was just bored a lot because, I've been to neutral site games before where there are fans from both teams there and there's still somewhat of an atmosphere. Typically these are postseason or bowl games, that sort of thing, where
right.
At the very least, one of the teams is going to have some level of excitement to be there. I mean, this is the first time I think I've really seen a game where it's there's no student sections, right? Syracuse didn't bring one, Pitt didn't bring one. This was, I think, technically Syracuse was credited as the home team, so yes. They brought their band, but Pitt didn't bring their band, and I don't know, it's the deadest I've ever been at a college football game before, right? Usually you can count on even if the overall crowd isn't great, you still have the student section and the band that is there, and yeah, it's we didn't even have that. So I don't know. I'm also not sure if I'm just being a hater, but I wasn't super impressed with the Yankee Stadium. Just as a fan being there, this is my first time ever as a fan there, and I'm not really a baseball person at all, but I just didn't think it was that good, I guess. So I think that, if they try to do this again, I would probably jump at the opportunity to once again go to New York and see this game again.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the game on the field. It's just, okay, this is a cool vacation. This is a cool place that we want to go. And, the game was probably the worst part of my weekend. And so, yeah, I mean, that's cool that you could have a game that bad and have everything around it make up for it.
That is the Eat at Arby's report of this game. Thank you, Arthur.
I wonder if this would be better if it was a season opener, like the Chick-fil-A game, but not. Yep. If that would be better in terms of vibe.
Not when both teams are limping into this in week 11.
Yeah.
But then the Yankees would still be playing, and it's just Yankee Stadium in general is just not there are some baseball stadiums where when they do football, the field is oriented along one of the baselines, either the first baseline or the third baseline. And there you can get away with it where one of the baselines is going to have good seats and you can, maybe you don't sell the whole stadium, but you can at least sell that baseline. Yankee Stadium, man, I don't know what the best seat in the house was. Cause like I said, I was in the front row in the section I was at, and it was not a good seat. And there's just nowhere where you're either really far from the field or at a really weird angle, and maybe both.
So, Arthur, you've been to a Pinstripe Bowl.
Yes.
Pitt Girl's been to a Pinstripe Bowl.
Yes, the same one.
I've been to a Pinstripe Bowl, a different one. It's just not a good football venue. It just isn't. However, I'm now curious as to whether or not we can talk Pitt into hosting a game at PNC.
Ooh.
We could put a football field in the weird like notch over by the bullpens.
That would be funny because of how close it is to a real football field. Like honestly, I think
to Acrisure.
I think a lot of this
across the parking lot
is that like as much as people like we kind of joke about New York City from a college football perspective because like let's face it, it's not like when the college game day went to New York City, it was like okay, like we get like what you're trying to do here, but like there's a big draw just to being in New York City.
For sure.
And so there isn't, at least right now, any sort of suitable college or football field in like actual New York City that would accommodate like a bowl game or a neutral site Power 5 game. Like you're not going to play it at I don't know, like
Columbia's is too small. Fordham's is too small. Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you're looking at like actual like sporting venues that are the right shape for football, you're looking at like stuff that's in New Jersey, and maybe that changes, right? Like I don't know because I know there's a MLS team that's trying to build their own stadium that's actually in New York. So I don't know, maybe when that happens there is like actually a venue where you can both be in New York and be in a venue that's the right shape. But right now Yankee Stadium is the compromise, and as someone, the Pitt as a fan base, like we're very much used to wanting to go to New York to play big games, right? Because all the whole time growing up, that was kind of what I was trained to think about in basketball. And people want to go to New York City, and we're going to keep wanting to go to New York City regardless of the venue.
I think maybe we're thinking about this the wrong way, which is why I have decided to propose that the next time that Pitt and Syracuse meet, they go to Long Island and they play in the infield of Belmont Park.
Done.
Perfect.
Done.
So
you can still run races. There's no problem.
Just play it on the beach at Montauk. Let's all go out to Montauk and go play on the beach. I did throw in the chat. I did not know what direction the soccer team in NYCFC plays, so I threw that in the chat as well, so you can see that direction and then the direction they played the football game in.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know the dimensions well enough to know that if it would work the other way, but it definitely looks like that soccer layout, which is not great still.
It's better.
It's better. There are at least some seats where you can see things.
It also looks as though Yankee Stadium doesn't conform to traditional geometry as I understand it.
No.
Like it just sort of stretches in whatever configuration you want. However it's configured, it is the wrong way.
Yankee Stadium, breaking geometry.
The interesting thing about this game was that Syracuse's tight end was their biggest rusher.
Yeah, and our passer. Yeah, Dan Villari. He went 3 for 5 passing for 12 yards. He ran 17 times for 154 yards. The quarterback Garrett Schrader completed 1 pass. The starting
QB, 2, baby.
One of 2 threw a 5-yard touchdown pass on the opening drive. Garrett Schrader was also the leading receiver in the game with 1 catch for 6 yards. Syracuse ran for 382 yards on 66 rushes.
I am so tired and so sad. I had a really rough day yesterday and missed most of this game and got home and turned it on in the 4th quarter and was just like, why? Why is Pitt?
I hope that things get better for you all.
The line opened against BC at Pitt -1.5, so there is evidently still some hope somewhere.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the people that set that aren't necessarily watching every game. I mean, they're not necessarily trying to be right. They're just trying to be what people will follow. We were talking, right, because of how much the lines have struggled to actually adjust to like what Iowa is actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a certain point where it's hard for the lines to keep up with what a team is doing,
right?
Because like they're kind of counting on people not being super informed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pitt was actually favored by 4.5 in this game.
Yeah, I mean they were leading at halftime,
13-7. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like this team, the offense in particular, just they have these like points that they get to in a game where they just completely melt down.
Yeah.
And the defense, it seems like they kind of play well, but every time the offense melts down, it's enough of a gut punch that they just kind of also fold, right? Like after you've kind of held the line all game and then your offense goes and gives up a pick six, like then all the momentum leaves the sails and they just completely collapse. I mean, which is what we saw against Notre Dame. It's what we've seen in a number of games this year from Pitt. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what you do to fix it because like there's just so many issues that the team has, but
it's in the walls. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. My stat that I have for this game is that this week, Bo Nix had 6 passes that went for more yards than Syracuse had all game.
So Bo Nix had 6 passes over 17 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Moving on. Let's
Iowa 22, Rutgers 0. This over-under was 28.5. It dropped to 27.5. I thought, okay, we're going to talk about how many times I was wrong last podcast.
Oh, God, you.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, you thought Rutgers was going to win this game.
I thought Rutgers was going to win this one.
You thought Rutgers was going to win, and in the notes you put, I think Rutgers can score. And they did not score.
It was 6-0 going into the fourth quarter. It was 6-0. And then Iowa opened up the offense. It scored 16 in the fourth quarter. I don't even know if that's legal. It was crazy to watch Iowa just wake up and be like, fine, fuck it, we'll score something, I guess. Still couldn't hit 25. Still hit the under.
I like the idea of Iowa just looking at us and being like, you understand we can do this anytime we want.
You're choosing.
And then just
this
stopping.
Is a choice.
Iowa's a cat.
No, this is tantric football. They can choose when to stop.
The Iowa cat eyes. So that's it. That's just ridiculous.
Just pushing the glass off the ledge very, very slowly.
Very, very slowly. And they knocked it over.
Those children in the hospital have to watch this. They watched 6 points through 3 quarters.
I mean, they're probably watching Bluey too. It's all right.
God, I hope so.
I hope so.
Whatever. Rutgers is bowl eligible. Iowa's 8-2. It still has the inside track to the fucking Big Ten title game.
That's right. I mean, should be fun.
That game's going to be so stupid.
Someone's going to eat them.
Look. If they make it there, I am going to root for the hilariousness.
100%.
Guaranteed. They make it there.
There are potential Iowa-Michigan outcomes that are actually very funny.
Just quicksand it? Yeah.
Oh,
Iowa becomes Verdun.
Oops, all Iowa.
All Iowa.
Iowa becomes the opening volleys of World War I, and it just turns into 9-6. It's that fucking game again. We're Alabama LSU again.
And the war dads are just over there to being like, yep, as they like build a trench at the 50-yard line.
Trench warfare. They could build it like, that on the Lucas Oil Stadium turf that broke apart at one time. They can build trenches inside the carpet there.
Now, Pitt Girl, I'm going to have to explain this next one to you carefully.
Yeah.
Illinois 48, Indiana 45 in overtime.
What?
Yeah, this game just fucking went.
My God.
In the teams combined for 37 points in the second quarter.
What?
Yes. I didn't know the Big Ten could do this.
This was one of the ones where I looked at the over-under and it was in the 40s and we were all like, no.
Both teams went over.
Right.
Both teams went over.
And this was just banger after banger after banger. Indiana almost won this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they came storming back. They looked dead.
They did.
I mean, this game had 2 spots on the Octo box. A weird thing I unveiled this weekend.
Yes, I saw your Octobox.
The Octobox. I didn't know what happened in this game. I saw Indiana go up like 27-12 in the mid second quarter. I was like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden Illinois comes back. It's 27-26. At halftime, they're down by 1. Illinois takes the lead back. It's 39-27. And you're just like, okay, I guess Indiana's done. Indiana was like, no, we're not done yet. And then they wind up getting a touchdown with 28 seconds left. Then they get the 2. It's 42-42. Then the OT, Indiana had to settle for a field goal, and Illinois walks it off.
Illinois passed for 500 fucking yards in this game, guys.
507 yards.
They ended up with 662 yards. Brett was like I was levitating. This was insane. I don't know what happened here, but it just, God bless, guys.
The Big Ten had so much excitement for us this weekend, which is why I want to talk about Jim Harbaugh now.
Okay.
Later.
Later. We'll get the Harbaugh in a little bit.
We'll get there.
But I just want to say the Illinois quarterback is a Ball State transfer.
He is.
So, yeah, he transferred from the MAC and brought a little Maction into this game. My God, what a great game.
It was beautiful.
Illinois one win away. 1 win away from bowl eligibility in that logjam of the Big Ten West, where everybody is, besides Iowa, everybody's 3-4 in conference and 5-5 overall, except Iowa and Purdue.
Beautiful.
Oh, we'll get to Purdue in a second. You know what? Fuck it. I'm moving it up
Move
here.
that shit up, because I don't know what the hell happened.
Okay, Pitt Girl. How about Minnesota 30, Purdue 49?
What?
This is a game that I thought
was so
going to be
many
under
points.
28
Where
and a half.
the fuck are all of these points coming from? Did they
know.
store up the points from the rest of the season and they're just like allocating them out now? Like the points bag exploded?
So the Big Ten really is like World War One, and like World War One, they were shooting off their ammunition at an unsustainable rate at some point, and so they've been rationing through the entire season. But now they finally have caught the means of production, which is, I think, important.
Okay. I think I get it now.
Purdue, 600 yards of offense for Purdue.
This was the game that
right?
you thought, again, Jordan being horribly incorrect. He thought
wrong.
the over under.
All wrong.
It's just all wrong. Purdue had 353 yards rushing.
I have no fucking clue. Okay, Hudson Card, my Texas man, at Purdue now, woke up and decided to play. Like, this is, again, just an insane amount of points in a game in West Lafayette. Like,
how many
place that hates points?
How many turnovers do you think this game had?
I know the answer, so I'm not going to say anything.
Either
for a 49-30
9
game.
or 0.
For 49-30 game.
9.
That's what you think.
3.
Okay. Pitt Girl was correct. It was 0. Essentially 9 or 0. She was just like, nobody turned the ball over. It was ridiculous. It was such, I mean, there was a couple missed field goals, but that's about it, man. It's incredible. I did not think Minnesota would. I thought Minnesota's defense was better, but I mean, Purdue launched a rushing attack out of nowhere.
Okay, got another one for you, Pitt Girl. How about Northwestern 24, Wisconsin 10 in Madison?
Oh, Wisconsin, you are down bad.
You've got a wasting disease, Wisconsin.
Have you tried eating oranges? Like, it might just be scurvy that's making your
Northwestern's
teeth fall out.
1 game away from being bowl eligible.
Skip.
Cheese is a lime if you believe enough.
Skip Holtz, baby. I'm giving Skip all the credit.
This is the magic of Skip Holtz.
The magic of Skip Holtz. He's got
as assistant to the head coach.
I do want to give a shout out to Northwestern for a shit win.
Woo!
They scored 24.
They scored 24 in the first half, and they didn't do shit in the second half. Shit win, Northwestern. The second half interval tracker, no points in the second half. Shit win for Northwestern. 1 win away from bowl eligibility.
And Pitt Girl, one more Big Ten score for you. Maryland 13, Nebraska 10.
Okay, that feels right.
Right.
That feels better. That one's fine.
From Amy Just, who is a AP. She's an AP voter, isn't she?
AP voter, and she's a reporter on like all Nebraska athletics. She had a time down in New Orleans with the Saints and all that stuff too. So
she let us know that Nebraska football leads the FBS in 2 of the 3 offensive turnover categories. Most turtle turnovers, 27. Next closest is 2 teams with 23, and most fumbles lost, 13. And 14 interceptions are tied for 11th worst.
Oof.
This is great.
Yeah, Nebraska had a horrible day. They had 3 quarterbacks play for Nebraska, and each one of them threw an interception.
That's amazing. That's
Sharing
amazing.
Is important.
Can we do like a combined Detmer ranking for them for this game?
There was no touchdowns, so it's not going to be good.
Oh no.
No touchdowns. So Jeff Sims, the starting QB, basically he had 1 fumble lost, and he threw 2 interceptions. Chuba, or is it? It's like Chubba Purdy. Yeah. Chubba Purdy, not Chuba. Chubba Purdy, sophomore. He threw 3 passes. He threw 1 interception, and then Heinrich Harburg threw 5 passes, 1 interception. So yeah, Nebraska, if you stop turning the ball over, it'd be fine. Like somebody in our mentions, Maryland turned the ball over 3 times also. Nebraska turned it over 5 times. So yeah, somebody, we got asked to stop tweeting about Nebraska. They're just like, I can't take you tweeting about Nebraska anymore. I was like, you understand that we have like Nebraska fans in the committee, and we've had Nebraska fans. We have a corn correspondent on our podcast. We're rooting for you. We are rooting for you. I want you to be bowl eligible. I want you to go to the bowl. I want to bevel the N. Please let me bevel the N. Cornhuskers, please.
So are they beating Wisconsin on the road or Iowa at home?
Wisconsin's bad.
I don't know. I want them to get 1 win. Get it against Wisconsin on the road. I want to bevel the N. Please, Nebraska, let me bevel the end.
Congratulations to bowl eligible Maryland.
Yes.
Congratulations to bowl eligible
the Terps,
Maryland.
They did it. The Terps, they survived September, Maryland. And they got to November, and Nebraska was a little bit too nice with the football.
Sam Houston, 42, Louisiana Tech, 27. 2 in a row, baby.
2 in a row for the Bearcats.
2 in a row. And their first Conference USA win. And their first FBS win for the year. And they shared this honor on the same day as another set of Bearcats that got their first new conference win as well.
Right.
Congratulations, Cincinnati.
Congratulations to both Bearcats.
Bearcats with a K and Bearcats with a C. Louisiana Tech is down real bad. There was a report that Sonny Cumbie is now banning certain reporters from practice.
Oh no!
And he ripped credentials away from somebody in front of the team.
It is melting down. Come over here and tell our offensive line about the awful things you write about them. This is definitely a sign that things are going well around your program.
Yeah, Louisiana Tech is now 3-8. They had 4 turnovers in this game. Sam Houston had none. And, La Tech had 501 yards of total offense, but the turnovers were just killer. Sam Houston did enough. They got enough points to put them away. And it wasn't close. Like, they didn't get close at the end. They had a comfortable win.
Yeah, that was the amazing part.
Yes. A comfortable win on the road for the Bearcats. Good job, Sam Houston.
If you're a Bearcat with a C or a Bearcat with a K,
you're happy.
And you're just feeling full of warmth and happiness, you should join our Patreon. Throw $5 at us, so we'll talk about your teams more.
Yes.
That's how this works, apparently.
Yes, it does.
$5 gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us during the week about rankings, about your pets, about literally whatever. Just don't drag message board shit in there. We don't need crazy message board shit. You get to see all the inner workings about what we do. You also get to see our paywall Substack posts as well. And Commish's Corner, our special podcast where Commish talks about whatever seems to tickle his mind at the time.
Yeah, I have one coming up that I'm going to be doing a recording for. It's one of a historical Sickos game. One of our Patreons actually broke down. We found video of it. It's a game from 1983. I'm just going to leave it at that. You may know what it is if you're already in the Discord, but I won't tell you what it is if you don't know. But we got play-by-play of the entire game from 1983. It's a rivalry game that's going to be played on Black Friday, so I'm going to try to time it up and get it out with that, along with some other things. So it's just going to be. I'm really excited for this one because this is probably one of the most sickos games of all time.
There you go. Also, check out our store at sickoscommittee.org. We have some new Do Sickos Need a 3-Hair basketball merch if you are in basketball mode. Right. Shout out to Message Board Geniuses podcast. They are working overtime right now because once the Texas Ags broke the Jimbo Fisher news.
Yeah.
So that place has become an absolute cesspool now.
Yeah, you don't need to
even
post
more so than it already was.
You don't need to post the message board stuff into our Discord. Just listen to the Message Board Geniuses podcast, follow their Twitter account, and enjoy all the fun stuff that you see there.
We have a YouTube, follow it. We've got a Substack. Definitely check that out as well for our Sicko Synopsis. And as always, if you love comfy apparel and need something for Christmas, why don't you check out Homefield Apparel? Homefield Apparel has all of your favorite licensed merchandise from the biggest schools and the smallest schools. Things from Colorado School of Mines, who is the number 1 seed in the D2 playoffs right now, and look like they're making a return trip to McKinney. I hope so. To Slippery Rock, another school in the D2 playoffs.
Yeah.
They have all sorts of stuff. Tonight, I am wearing my Rice Owl Band shirt, which I love. I see an Auburn Peacock hoodie.
Yeah.
I see a Split Zone Duo shirt as well. So a lot of us are. I don't know what you're wearing, Pitt Girl.
I'm falling down on the job. I am wearing a 2022 Panther Pitt t-shirt that I got for free when I went to the Syracuse basketball game this spring.
Oh,
there you go.
Okay.
There you go. Hard to beat free.
So if you need something like that for loved ones, put your orders in now. Use offer code yes, yes. That's 3 ha's for 15% off your first order. And as always, we have our Sickos shirt showdown. Our Sickos shirt collection is 25% off using offer code committee. No matter if you've ordered for them before or not. I'm going to do a quick check to see what's left in that. What's left in our thing, because when those shirts go, they're gone.
Yeah.
Currently, we have
13.
We have 13 shirts, including the Pride of Wildcat Land Kansas State band shirt, which I love. The There's No Place Like Nebraska shirt, which is great. The Illinois Rose Bowl shirt, which is one of my favorites. The Fight for Iowa crew neck. We got Sicko's Bronco for Boise State.
Oh yeah.
We have Huffy. I call him Huffy Bison for Marshall. He looks just annoyed by things. And then this last week we had Script Panthers for Pitt and Otto the Orange looking like he's giving someone the finger, which I love. If you need gifts of these shirts or anything else, these schools or anything else, check out Homefield Apparel. They're great. We love them. Softest shirts in the world. And I'm wearing Tulane joggers right now too, so I'm really cozy and happy. Back to some games. Things that are going to go we have a little less to say because these weren't quite as insane. Utah State 41, Nevada 24. Utah State is looking way good. Nevada is not. This was on Cages yet again, which I'm going to miss you, Cages. Virginia Tech 48, Boston College 22.
I think this is why the line opened at Pitt -1.5.
Yeah. Boston College had some momentum, and then Virginia Tech just went to Chestnut Hill and decided no. Yeah. This was insane.
You said Virginia Tech seems like a kamikaze plane that you cannot predict what's it going to do. Yeah, they threw up 35 unanswered in the first through third quarter, and it was just a downright obliteration. BC started this game horribly. Their first play was an interception. They threw an interception, and they held them to a field goal. They took the lead 7-3, and then that was it. Like the Hokies just went insane. Virginia Tech 5-5, 1 win away from bowl eligibility.
God, that's
nice.
Also, I would never have expected that 10 weeks ago.
No.
USF 27, Temple 23. Temple almost pulled this out, a 13-point fourth quarter, and they almost won at South Florida.
Yeah.
that was way closer than I thought it was going to be.
South Florida was dominating for a bit, and Temple just turned it on. They started rolling in the second quarter. They were down 17-0, and then they just started rolling. They got close, and they got within 4, and there was like 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But the Bulls were able to hang on. South Florida 5-5, 1 win away from a bowl game. By the way, South Florida has equaled the win total from their previous head coach in just this 1 year.
Yep. Hey, y'all. New Mexico State's going to the Conference USA title game.
Woohoo!
That game is already set. It will be at New Mexico State. And New Mexico State is 8-3, 6-1 in Conference USA. They ran all over Western Kentucky. Like, this is, if Jerry Kill, like, I have no clue how Jerry Kill has done all this, but he has turned that thing around so quickly. And I think that he is not getting the credit he deserves for this. Because this, I mean, we all know New Mexico State has been in a bad way for a long ass time. Like, its whole history, long ass time. And being in a conference title game, that's insane.
Oh, I mean, it's just great that they got in the conference, and then the first year in the conference and in the conference title game. Just stats for me personally. Since I went to New Mexico, Las Cruces, last year they were 5-1. This year they're 8-3.
You see, you can't go back anymore.
So they're 13-4 since my presence was there in Las Cruces in Aggie Memorial Stadium. So I'm not taking any credit for it. It's all the players, it's all them, but it's just a weird coincidence.
When we dissect this season and do the autopsy, I am going to want to talk about that UMass game week 0 again, because that game makes so little sense now.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know how to get to that.
It makes a lot of sense to me because I realized like what happened personally.
Oh, because Diego was like pushing it.
No, it was just they feel like they were like, hey, this game isn't going to be given to us. There's no way that we're going to lose to UMass. UMass is not great. And UMass was ready. They had the whole offseason to prepare, and they came up with a great game plan. And, they just weren't ready to roll that game. And you can get caught off guard in week 0. And they did. But they've corrected that. And, 8-3 for the Aggies. Amazing. Western Kentucky, I don't know what happens, but they seem to score a lot of points in the first half, and then the second half they don't do well. They don't do well in the second half. They're 1 win away from a bowl game. Hopefully, Western Kentucky can make a bowl.
Mitsu 40, FIU 6. This was just an absolute beatdown. Auburn 48, Arkansas 10. Sure.
Did not expect this.
Yeah, I didn't expect this either. Bowl eligible Auburn.
Ugh.
And what's interesting about this?
Arkansas's got brain weevils. Like, it's not good. It's not good.
The interesting thing about this was that we believe that Arkansas at halftime was watching the Polar Express.
Cool.
The film?
There's like a Snapchat video, which we can't verify, but apparently they were watching the Polar Express at halftime when they were down 27-3 at halftime. And then,
how are you going to adjust for that?
And then they gave up 21 points in the third quarter, so it didn't really help. Maybe they didn't get to finish the movie, and they were just wanting to know how it ended.
Wanted to get back in time to
want to know how it ended. Running clock. Those creepy eyes in the Polar Express probably threw them for a loop too.
That's what I was thinking. Cal 42, Wazoo 39. This game got so weird. The sun starts going down at Cal, and then just like this game gets bonkers. This is on ESPN2, by the way. People watched this.
I watched some of this game.
The only thing I really saw was this one, and I think everybody on the account tweeted our own version of it. But Wazoo was trying to do the tush push, the brotherly shove for a first down. and it's like 4th and 1 on Cal's side of the field. So they're doing this, and all of a sudden the ball squirts out. And then Cal
the other way. It goes the exact opposite direction you think it should go.
Yeah, it squirts out, and Cal picks it up and runs it back for a touchdown. So yes, the tush push resulted in the squirt backwards for a touchdown. Now I saw that play, and then I'm like, Cal's up relatively. I was like, yes. Okay, I think they have this one. It's 42-32, and then all of a sudden, no, it's 42-39. Wazoo missed a field goal to tie it. They threw an interception on their very last drive. They just could not get it done. Both teams now 4-6. As soon as the sun started to go down, this got a little bit crazier. Yep. I feel like this entire game would have been nuts if it started like at night instead of like 3 p.m.
Oh, if it had been a night game, this would have been just just off the rails immediately. Cincinnati 24, Houston 14. Cincy gets their first Big 12 win.
Yay, Cincy.
This was also a bit chaotic as hell. Houston, oh my God, wasn't Houston the one that was like, we fire people for winning only 9 games here?
Yeah.
Whatever. Hey Dana, just go someplace else. Dana, Texas A&M. I'm saying it right now. They get along fine. Someone said that Jim Harbaugh should go to A&M and that'd be a weird culture fit. Nah, man. Like, one dude wearing khakis yelling weird things, a bunch of other dudes wearing like pleated pants, wearing weird things. Like, this is just a match made in heaven.
Thank goodness we're finally on Harbaugh.
Say it again.
I don't think the weirdness is a line.
You don't think
so? I think Jim Harbaugh weird and Texas A&M weird are 2 different kinds of weird. I think they like annihilate if you try and touch them together.
I'm just imagining you Miss Rev in pleats.
Ooh.
I mean, hey, look, the core cadets do wear khakis a lot. So, yes. I mean, Harbaugh could fit there. And, I mean, we could get to this Michigan talk that Beth wants to get into.
Yes, I would very much like to get into this Michigan talk.
I mean, you're very fascinated by the refurbished vacuums, right?
As all things.
That's right. What brand?
As part of the what the hell happened at the Mountain West night, Colorado State 22, San Diego State 19. Colorado State had a 22-3 lead and almost fucking blew
Almost did.
San Diego State, we gotta just like it's over for Brady Hoke. Like let's
3-7.
And not a fun.
No, not at all.
And none of these games are they fun.
No,
it is a slog.
It is. Is there been like any game that they've won like relaxing wise for San Diego? Let me look at San Diego State's schedule. They beat Ohio in that horrible week 0 game.
That was all. Nope, that was awful.
20-13. They struggled with Idaho State, 36-28. Their easiest win was 41-34 over Hawaii, and they got shut out 6-0 against Nevada.
Yeah, so this has to go. This has to be done. You have a beautiful new stadium, and then you're putting this in it. Stop that. LSU 52, Florida 35. Jaden Daniels is insane. He's grown up so much since like slinging the ball for Herm Edwards out at Arizona State so badly, looking so panicked all the goddamn time. He was through for 300, rush for 200, some insane number like that.
And
just, it was all over this game.
It was nuts. It was, I felt bad for the LSU defense because like Jaden Daniels would score a touchdown, like an 85-yard run in like one play. And the LSU defense just had no chance to catch their breath. Mm-hmm. It's just like he scored so fast.
That's like, the only reason Florida had 35. It's not because this game was ever close.
Oh, it was close. Florida had a lead. And Billy Napier was excited.
Once LSU put the gas down, it was never in question. It was just like LSU's defense was winded. They were doing wind sprint. Like it was. Oh yeah,
it was nuts.
But Jaden Daniels is the man. If I had a Heisman vote, it goes to Jaden Daniels.
I don't.
However,
I don't have a Heisman vote.
7-3. Well, not yet.
Oh, the Sickos committee voting for Heisman. Nothing.
I'm just glad that Jaden Daniels was able to find the stabilizing, calming influence that he needed in Brian Kelly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Many people have said, I've gone to Baton Rouge and my life got better.
Uh-huh.
That's a statement that people say. I went to Louisiana and things got more stable.
Yeah, that's how I got my life back together. I went to Louisiana.
The divorced dad credo. I left Tempe. Tempe to Baton Rouge is, like, in retrospect, is such a straight line. Like that is.
It's right on I-10 essentially. It's right on I-10. But
I meant emotionally a straight line.
You went from a dry heat to a muggy heat. Like no humidity to all the humidity. Jaden Daniels needs to stay moist apparently. Humidity.
Noted amphibian, Jaden.
That was the problem at Arizona State. They weren't spritzing him enough. Herm wasn't out there spritzing him.
Jaden Daniels out here like moisturize me.
Iowa State 45, BYU 13. Iowa State, you just dropped the hammer on BYU at a late ass time. This was 9:15 Central. And like no one saw this. It was on ESPN, but no one watched this game because everyone else was watching watching Oregon and USC at the same time. But this was just like a brutal beating. Good God. A bowl eligible Iowa State. Clemson 42, Georgia Tech 21. Yep, I fucked this one up as well. I thought this was going to be Clemson. I thought this was Georgia Tech's to win. And Georgia Tech stroke first, and then just nada. Just it died. Clemson looked like Clemson again.
I blame myself for all of these bad predictions.
See, if you were here, I wouldn't have done this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Look what you made me do, Beth. Dabo showed up in camo.
Oh.
He looked like he'd just come out of like the most cowboy church prayer group I've ever seen. And it was...
I didn't know Dabo was going to be in camo. That's just not... I had no idea. And then you kind of... Y'all like forced me into a prediction in this game. And it was not accurate because I wasn't feeling it. So don't let me do that anymore. All right? Okay. When Commissioner Damas is ready, he will make more predictions.
Texas Tech 16, Kansas 13. Kansas's QB... Kansas was down to like their third QB. Even the main beam machine wasn't there. Tech wins on a walk-off field goal. This is just okay. You know what, Kansas?
I mean, it's Kansas. Texas Tech now one win away from bowl eligibility. Kansas scored all their points in the fourth quarter, and they tied the game up, and then they just give up the lead at the very last second. Fantastic catch by Texas Tech, just amazing.
Tulane 24, Tulsa 22. Tulane, you gotta stop doing this for my sanity, for Commish's sanity, for your fans' sanity.
Can't stop, won't stop, roll wave!
We're reaching a singularity here, guys. The last 3 games, they have won by 2 points, 3 points, and 2 points.
Yeah.
This is... And okay, they're at FAU next week, and FAU is banged up fine. But they're versus UTSA, the last game of the season. You cannot do that with UTSA, y'all.
The degree of finding out is going to be immense. So much finding out. So
it's an early morning game in FAU. All I know is that like Tulane's offense is incredibly banged up. They were down their starting 3 wide receivers for this game.
Yes, they were.
And then they could take these leads and then like they just hang on at the end. Like Tulsa had a 2-point conversion to tie it and they stopped it. I don't know if like their offense is just like a mash unit at this point. Their defense is kind of keeping them alive, and they're just basically they remind me of something I used to do, with NCAA football. Like I would just have to do just enough to win games on like Heisman level. Like I would just squeak out like 2-point wins just to get to the next game, and hopefully my injured players would come back, or like I would get a little bit easier game. On the road at FAU is no matter what the record is going to be tough for Tulane. It's going to be difficult. Hopefully they can get some of their starters back, because I mean, if you're down your top 3 wide receivers, they basically all they have is their quarterback and their running back, and their offensive line is banged up. So it's just like they are just gutting everything out right now, and you just hope that they get healthy. But Tulane is 9-1 after going like 12-2, and then the year before that they were like 2-10. So I mean, winning these by the skin of their teeth,
still a win.
It still counts. I don't care what happens to the CFP or whatever for them. Just find a way to win. I don't know. Like, it's just like they're not. It's Tulane. You're not going to have depth. You just don't.
Arizona 34, Colorado 31. Everyone called this one, and it played out just like people thought it would. Arizona's good.
Walk-off winner.
Colorado can't protect their quarterback.
The walk-off winner for Jed Fish's Wildcats. 7-3 Jed Fish. At altitude. Colorado, again, they're down to 4-6. They lose one more. They're not making a bowl game.
But you know what? I'm still going to say it. Way better team than they were last year.
Yeah, they only won one game last year. So
progress is incremental.
Yeah, no, the hype cycle swung way too far in the other direction at the beginning of this season because we didn't know TCU was bad yet. But Colorado's doing pretty well, actually.
If you didn't have Big Noon Saturday, just follow them for like the first 4 weeks of the season. It's just like they're chasing ratings, and then like everybody dropped Colorado. I'm done with you now. You're below 500.
Yeah, you're not new. You're not the new toy anymore. Right. I don't love you anymore.
And it sucks because they're still fun to watch. This game was incredibly fun to watch.
It was fantastic. It was amazing.
All 10 people that watched on the Pac-12 network really enjoyed it.
It was good. I shout out to Fox for posting clips with no sound of this because I mean I got a lot of highlights from this game, so Fox is kind of like semi still involved. But yeah, it was a great game, back and forth, and then the Wildcats walk-off winner, walk-off home run, field goal.
You know who didn't have a great game? Wake Forest. Wake Forest 6, NC State 26 on the CW.
Only on the CW.
Once we knew it was on the CW, we knew NC State was going to win it. It was just an absolute
guaranteed.
NC State wins this easily.
I mean, guaranteed. Amazing. How did NC State score? Oh yeah, they got a pick 2.
Yep, it was a pick 2. It was 5 in the fourth quarter. It was a pick 2. Yep.
Wait, there's a 5 out of here. Yeah, with the Colorado State game, they were up like 5-0 on San Diego State because they got a safety.
It was 5-0 in the first quarter and went into half 15.
Yeah,
that was a weird one.
So
Memphis 44, Charlotte 38 in overtime. Biff's boys almost pull it out here.
Almost.
God, it was so close.
They almost did it.
Memphis is looking better, but they're still letting bad teams hang around. We had something very rare this weekend. Kansas State 59, Baylor 25 is scoregami.
Ooh!
College football scoregami. Oh, the weirdest of all scoregamis. There was a scoregami last week, I believe, and I can't remember what the game it was. But this was like a scoregami in the middle of the block.
Wasn't it like Memphis, like 59-50?
Something like that. Because really the only way college scoregami works so much anymore is that you have to have two scores way high. It's usually the only way it works anymore. But 59-25 was a gap, and we filled it in. Baylor down real bad. Okay, I'm going to read this next score to you, and I just need a live reaction here. Pitt Girl. UCF 45, Oklahoma State 3.
I don't understand.
Oklahoma State looked so bad.
I mean, so that's what we thought, right? After they lost to South Al, and then they got their shit together, and they started doing things, and
they beat Oklahoma.
Something happened in Bedlam, and here we are.
Pistol Pete is not meant for space.
I looked to see if there is a Space Pete logo, and there is not. The best I can see him is flying a plane. No. So until we get a Space Pete, I don't think that's going to happen.
Pete.
I just want to highlight UCF had 600 yards in this game of offense. Oklahoma State had about 207.
Hold on, I want to say something real quick. Yeah. Pete in space.
That was very good.
Thank you.
I enjoyed that.
I appreciate that.
Navy 31, UAB 6. I guess that's how you respect the troops.
on Veterans Day.
This did have an amazing journey drive. 20 plays, 80 yards, 12 and a half minutes.
No, 12 minutes and 44 seconds.
There we go.
Hell yeah.
Ended in a TD.
Sorry.
It was just
Hell yeah.
I mean, it was close, and then like Navy dropped 21 unanswered in the third quarter. They hit the hammer with that 20 play 80-yard drive, and then the very next drive for UAB, I think there was a pick six at some point in there, and it was just like UAB's just done. I'm done.
Commish, emotionally, how do you feel about Florida State 27, Miami 20?
I'm good. I mean,
Miami hung way more than I thought
they hung tough. You know, really, they got killed last year, like 45-3 or something?
Yeah, it was brutal.
And so they went on the road. The quarterback, like a horrific arm injury at the end.
It's broken.
Yeah. And so screaming out loud, injury, and then you have to throw the backup, which is Tyler Van Dyke, who was not playing well. And then he throws an interception on the drive, completely cold. Very last drive of the game, like a minute left. And it's like, hey, Tyler, the quarterback just broke his arm in horrific fashion. And is there a way you can, get a touchdown and tie the game? A little bit too much to ask. And really, I will take this as a Canes fan. I will take it. You're still bowl eligible. You're markedly improved over last year. I will say that, you probably should have one more win because you didn't kneel. Whatever. Fine. Everybody makes horrific mistakes from time to time that you probably won't be able to sleep some nights because you remember that ridiculous mistake. Just like, ESPN made when they said Mike Norvell was walking into the game and it was actually Mario Cristobal, which ESPN had a horrible, horrible graphic day.
My favorite was calling Presbyterian College the Blue Hose, HOES.
Oh, no.
On a graphic. No. Yeah, that's great. That was
Post
great.
that in the chat.
And then they let me find it.
I gotta mute. I'm laughing so much.
That one was great. And then also they managed to fuck up their an FCS graphic.
They ruined an FCS graphic. They screwed up the Sun Belt East and West completely. Like they did not get anything correct. It was just
I had a bad weekend.
Yeah.
In terms of fact checking because I messed up 2 or 3 things, but nothing.
I mean, we're tweeting fast and furiously, and we're gonna make typos. We're gonna get something wrong. We're gonna do that because we're trying to keep up with the madness as it's happening. That's fine. You're ESPN. You have people that do this for a living and get paid. We're just idiots tweeting things. So yeah.
I cannot find the Blue Hose tweet.
It was in there somewhere. Is it in the Sicko CBB thread somewhere? It was somewhere.
Okay. Anyway, I'll look for it later. But yeah, refer to them as the Blue Hose. Close enough.
Yes.
Oregon State 62, Stanford 17. Oregon State basically on their first 12 drives had 9 TDs. Just absolutely hammered them. I want you guys to look. I dropped it in the podcast thread. What the next 2 games Oregon State has lined up.
Oh no!
We're gonna host number 5 Washington, then we're at number 6 Oregon. Yep. So good for them. Hey, you know what, guys? It's been a great year. You want to really fuck someone's season up, Oregon State? You got the chance, and you're running hot on the perfect time.
They play Washington in Corvallis.
Mm-hmm.
I bet she's gonna be cold and rainy in Corvallis, and windy. But they're used to playing in Seattle though. UTSA 34, Rice 14. I was wrong again. Thought this was gonna be spicy. Ended up not being, but JT Daniels was hurt, and Frank Harris was not, and that's sort of all you need to know. Rice was playing a freshman quarterback who did fine, but it was not it. Texas A&M 51, Mississippi State 10. Still got you fired, Jimbo. Looking forward to interim head coach Steve Adazio.
Oh God, no! I think they named the interim coach.
Is that what?
Yes, he is. He's their offensive line coach.
Yeah, and they just signed him to a renewal.
They renewed all of those assets.
Oh God.
Yeah, there's a reason a lot of A&M fans are I'm just not perceiving my team this year because like down the whole staff, it's a lot of people that are not great. Duke 45, North Carolina 47 in overtime. There was some ref shenanigans here. There was one interception at the end where it was a 50-50 ball, pretty close. It looked like the Duke guy pulled it away from the North Carolina receiver.
Yeah.
It was from Tez, wasn't it?
I don't know
From
if it was
Tez?
Tez or not.
But they didn't even look at it. Just like whistling, just kept going.
ACC.
So Duke, that's what it feels like to be ACC ref the other way. Congratulations.
Yeah, ACC refs don't know what to do when it's two teams from the same side of the Mason-Dixon. So we're going to see how that interacts with adding teams from California next year.
It's going to be great. App State 42, Georgia State 14. Georgia State, you had a great run, guys. It was 4 in a row to begin with. You won like 6 of your first 7. And then it's just been brutal loss. They lost 42-12 last week as well.
42-14.
42-14, yes. Yeah. So that's 2 in a row.
It's okay. Who do they have next?
They're going to LSU.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. But like even worse, they finish hosting a very feisty Old Dominion who is just swinging and trying to take people's teeth out at this point.
Well, not this week, unfortunately.
Yeah. Speaking of bad times, James Madison 44, UConn 6. Yeah. This was
UConn. You didn't have to do this. You can schedule literally whoever you want. Why did you do this?
I mean, at the time they scheduled it, maybe it was a good idea. Like, oh, they're moving up. They're probably not going to be great their first couple years.
It feels like scheduling North Dakota State, but okay.
Coastal 31, Texas State 23. Commish shit talked Coastal on another podcast, and now they're coming for him.
I didn't like shit talk them, but it was just like they were 2-3, and I was like, they don't feel like Coastal was. And they just kind of feel normal. And they were just like, oh, yeah? And then they've won 5 in a row.
I want to know that they have that up on bulletin board. Like, they smack every time they walk in.
The Sickos committee says, you feel normal. It's like they took that as an insult. What? We're not normal. We're Coastal Carolina.
And we got Joe Moorhead going, I don't want my shit being shown up on the Sickos committee page. Eastern Carolina gets a win. Eastern Carolina 22, FAU 7.
Yeah, on the road.
Eastern wins on the road. That's such a bizarre thing.
FAU.
Like, again, it was on ESPN Plus. No one watched this, but it was like fascinating to watch this score like build up.
It didn't make any sense.
Marshall wins on the NFL Network 38-33 over Georgia Southern. Gus the Eagle is inconsolable on this one.
Gus is just
he was super unhappy.
Just
I love that Gus just like shit, like he's one of the shit talkiest mascots on Twitter, and I love him for it. Like Georgia State fans in his mention, and he just like posts screenshots of half empty stadiums. Just absolutely just. Okay, Beth. Oklahoma 59, West Virginia 20.
I mean, it did what it said on the tin. That's what happens to West Virginia and Norman. So the thing happened that usually happens to West Virginia and Norman, and my very good football team could end up 8-4 with no wins against a team with a winning record. Hooray!
Love it.
Still counts.
Imagine the lofty heights of being 8-4.
I just all you need to know about this game is that Puddles came up to me afterwards and was like, I may have been unwarrantedly optimistic about this game.
No, Puddles is becoming self-aware.
But Pitt Girl,
it won't last.
Imagine how high they're going to float up into what tier of bowl game they're going to end up in.
Oh no!
Only to get destroyed by some SEC team.
No.
That's true.
Can we get West Virginia to San Antonio? That would be fun. Because then you get to play a Pac-12 team in San Antonio.
Ooh.
Arizona State 17, UCLA 7. UCLA, it's done. Like you got your 6 wins. You're going to a bowl game. Put the tarps up. Like this is they were down to like not their quarterback. It's bad. Chip Kelly has a better defense than offense. I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore.
Yeah.
This is
I
bad.
just want to say that I love Arizona State's like skill players, like just their names. So like the Arizona State quarterback is Bourget. I'm like, I love that. Then they have like this tiny running back who's just built like a Minecraft person. Just like square. And it's Cameron Scatabo or Scataboo, whatever. And it just to give him the ball, just it's hilarious. It just nothing but tremendous effort. Like just seems like he almost like dies on every play, given so much effort.
I can't read his name normally. My brain looks at it and goes, Skate Bro.
Skate Bro. it kind of works out. But and then their number one wide receiver, last name is just Badger. It's just like I love their names so much.
Badger, mushroom.
Oh my god!
So it's like so you got Bourget and Scataboo and Badger. I love it. I love it so much.
That is a fucking Tempe ass law firm if I've ever seen one.
Bourget.
The law offices of Bourget, Scataboo, and
Bourget,
Badger.
Scataboo, and Badger. We fight for you.
This is a heist movie I would watch.
I just love their names so much. It's ridiculous. And yes, Cameron Scataboo built like a Minecraft person. He's tough to tackle, man. I would never tackle this dude in a million years.
Boise State 42, New Mexico 14, and they still fired their coach. San Jose State 42, Fresno State 18. San Jose State scored 21 in the first quarter and then just fucking leaned on. Fresno State looked slow and bad.
I don't even know what the hell happened. San Jose State wins the Valley Trophy.
Hawaii 27, Air Force 13.
Go Bows!
Air Force broke Hawaii.
What happened?
Army broke Air Force. Same thing happened. It was turnovers. Like Air Force just coughed up the ball a bunch again. And it was part 2 of what happened last time. I don't know what's different. Air Force's QB went out for a bit. Remember he got knocked out a couple games ago. And ever since then, something's not there. He's hurting. It's something because this is ooh. The Army loss may not have counted for the Mountain West, but this one did. We unfortunately we do not have a complete circle of sicko yet because both New Mexico and San Diego State's only conference wins are Hawaii. So that's going to stop us. Troy 45, ULM 14. This went exactly how I thought it was going to go.
Yeah. Well, I told you that Troy was
right.
going to. I think the over under was like 45 or something. And I was like, Troy is going to hit the over-under by themselves, and they did.
Commish
I had a feeling on that one. I'm just glad Monroe didn't get shut out. The fun thing I just threw in the chat is that the radio folks of Troy and ULM were in the press box. Apparently, they were battling Alabama State, which are known as the Hornets. So the MVP of the day was the Wasp and Hornet Killer that they had to use in the press box just to broadcast this game. Wow. I threw that in the chat.
That's some Sunbelt level intimidation right there.
That is some Sunbelt level. Basically, I don't know, man. Like, ULM has Ole Miss this week. I think the over-under is like 64 at the line, and I'm like, Ole Miss is probably going to cover that themselves.
I would think so.
I mean, honestly, I think that's what they're going to do because Ole Miss is probably going to be mad after what Georgia did to them.
And then USC 27, Oregon 36. This went about what you thought it would. Mm-hmm. SC sort of claws back at the very end, but yeah. At some point, Bo Nix's passer rating was in the thousands.
Ooh. Well, after his first pass.
Because his first pass was like 80 yards for a touchdown.
77-yard touchdown. One pass, 77-yard touchdown. Then his second pass was another long touchdown pass. And his rating was like 1,176 or something.
Yeah, this is like Elo numbers at this point. Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened. It feel like Oregon gained 552 yards. The Grink was not there. It's just that USC is going to have to play some sort of incredible offensive game, and Oregon was like, no, we're not going to let you do that. Caleb Williams is going to make some plays. Somebody in the Twitter thread said that the Dr. Pepper curse commercial accidentally really cursed Caleb Williams.
where he walks underneath.
He walked underneath
ladder,
way too many ladders, and his number's 13. I mean, there was just. I mean, I'm superstitious. I would have never done that commercial like that. I could not do that, even though I'm like an awesome athlete. But yeah, USC's 7-4 now, and the Grink is no longer there.
Since we're talking about this game, I would like to take a moment to appreciate the Oregon Ducks Shrinkinator bit from this week.
It was great, and they had the little baby duck come out.
Yes.
It was so
good. It was so good. I am dropping it in the chat for everyone's delight. But we love Tiny Puddles. From wherever he came.
Someone said it was the difference between a guy who's 6'1" and a guy who's 5'11". Which I think is funny. On to our FCS and funky ones, which I kind of like that name for our
it's just the funky ones.
I do want to shout out the first game I watched the entirety of that day. The U.S. Merchant Marine Academy 39, the U.S. Coast Guard 27. Ended up being a very good game. One of our dudes in our Patreon member NJ, who's in our Discord, was at the game and gave us some extra stuff, including the fact that Merchant Marine tried to kidnap Obji, the bear, the mascot, and that's the bear with the lots of six packs. He's the really ripped bear that doesn't wear pants or a shirt. And apparently they tried to steal the mascot, but failed to up the head because the guy in the suit was a wrestler. And then Coast Guard tried to steal one of the Merchant Marine banners. It was back and forth. This game is beautiful. They played it at Coast Guard. The Coast Guard Academy is right on one of the river. It looks amazing. It was a great atmosphere. D3 football is wonderful, especially in New England. Do it. Congrats, Merchant Marine. They extend their streak in this series by a bit. This is for the Secretary's Cup. We had 2 winless showdowns, and both of those games ended up being a lot of fun. First off, Indiana State gets their first win. They beat the Western Illinois Leathernecks. Our Sycamores are now 1-9. They put the Western Illinois away pretty handily.
Yeah, the Leathernecks took a 6-0 lead. They doinked an extra point, but it was like a doink that hit the left upright and just went clear across the uprights, to the right-hand side. It ricocheted. I don't know how it didn't go in, but it didn't go in. And so they missed it in the Indiana State, our beloved Sycamores. They just basically just put it away. And I feel bad for Western Illinois. Their quarterback was just under siege all game long.
Was taking sacks and
just
tackles
give him,
running and
just give him like a portable ice bath because he's gonna need it. Ouch.
Our other double winless showdown was Wofford 11, the Citadel 3. The Terriers win this one. Congrats, Terriers.
This game was it was sprinkling in the beginning. And so Wofford gets a touchdown, they go for 2, so it's 8-0. Then the Citadel gets a field goal, and then the heavens opened up. I mean, there's literal standing water on outside the hash marks in this field. It was just coming down endlessly, and it was ridiculous. There was some hilarious fumbles. I think the Citadel fumbled probably. On their first 2 drives, they fumbled. It was just such a sloppy game. But the Citadel had a chance to tie with the last, with a minute left in the game. They just could not get it done and could not get the tie because, honestly, I don't think anybody could move the ball in that weather.
That was Citadel had 150 yards of offense. Wofford had 200. Nothing could. No, sorry. That's the rushing yards only. Total offense was 250 yards. No one could really do anything this game. Congrats, Wofford. Get your first win of the year. They're 1-9. Citadel drops to 0-10. And then our You Can't Tell Me What to Do, Dad game of the week. UC Davis versus Idaho State. Hawkins versus Hawkins. The elder Hawkins is the head coach at UC Davis. The younger Hawkins, Cody Hawkins, is the head coach at Idaho State. UC Davis wins 21-14 in the Holt Arena. This was a late touchdown to win this thing. It was a pretty good game overall.
It was a good one. It was a close one. It was a back and forth battle. UC Davis had a nice run from the QB. I think it was a QB, or it could have been like one of those direct snaps. Broke a couple tackles and took it in with like 2 minutes left. And Idaho State tried to drive and to tie it, but they threw a pick at the end. A great game. Fantastic game.
And then we had a beautiful Hail Mary, Central Arkansas over Eastern Kentucky. My bad. I am going to stream this for us to watch because this is great. Got it.
Wow. How did he come up with that?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Wow.
It ricochets into someone else's hands. Ricochets off. It wasn't like Eastern Kentucky's defenders didn't like knock it down either.
No.
Like it bounced off one of Central Arkansas's receiver's hands into the hands of another Central Arkansas receiver. I believe this puts them in the lead for the UAC.
I think so. Their hopes are still alive. They are tied. Well, actually, Austin Peay is 5-0 in the UAC, and Central Arkansas is 4-1. But guess who they play next week? Each other.
Ooh.
UAC drama, which is like kind of the whack and somebody else with their powers combined. It was a lot of fun. Shout out to Nichols University. Shout out to the Colonels. They won the Southland automatic bid. They beat Lamar. They're 6-0 in conference. ESPN apparently has their overall win-loss at 5-4, which it doesn't make sense. But I don't know. I think they're counting. Oh, they count the Northwestern State game as a forfeit win for them, which is weird.
That's what they're counting it as.
So, yeah, they beat Incarnate Word last weekend, who is the ranked team, and Incarnate Word's only loss in conference is to Nichols. So Nichols gets the automatic bid. So Incarnate Word, who's in the top, rankings, top 10 of the FCS rankings, does not get an auto bid this year because Nichols.
Also, congrats to Nichols basketball, who beat LSU.
Yes, by
after pulling up your pointer out of their ass.
That's right. Ben is not going to be happy about that.
Congrats to Bowling Green, Maryland, App State, Auburn, Texas A&M, and Iowa State on being bowl eligible.
I'm so excited. We have so many bowl eligibles next week. We have so many like 5-5 versus 5-5. I am so hyped for next week. It's incredible. But I know Beth wanted to talk about the Michigan thing. So let's go. What do you got, Beth?
Perfect. So I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I especially wanted to discuss the injunction in detail. So I'm so glad that we have so much time remaining to really get into the Harbaugh thing and to discuss the legal ramifications of the decision not to go forward at all with anything in this. This is just fascinating to me.